Tonight's episode of The Ultimate Fighter could be split into two halves. The first half was the coach's challenge, the second half was the fight itself, and the selection of the wildcard round. In the first half, Dylan Andrews and Uriah Hall actually seemed to bond. They had a heart-to-heart talk outside, and Uriah thinks he finally found a guy whose background and the adversity he had to overcome to be a fighter is somebody he can relate to as a fighter himself. So good for him. Maybe he's actually going to make a friend in the house after all. The coach's challenge was at a place called Dig This in Las Vegas with excavators and a giant lot full of dirt. Dana told them they had to complete 3 challenges, and the winner would get $10,000 and $1,500 for each fighter on his team. First, they had to fill a 14-yard-long trench with dirt. Then they had to stack up 3 giant tractor tires into a pyramid. Finally, they had to pick up a basketball with the excavator and drop it into a tire to complete the challenge. Chael got off to an early start by being the first to fill his trench with dirt, but John Jones caught up during the second part when Chael was having trouble releasing the tire onto the top of the pyramid, and it kept sliding off, whereas Jones was able to neatly and perfectly set his down, and Jones raced over to pick up the basketball first for the third challenge, but when he dropped it, it bounced off the tire and out, whereas Chael dropped his and it fell right in the middle. So Chael won the challenge and screamed, "One more for the bad guys," and happily presented his fighters with the cash. Then we move on to the fight, Zak Cummings versus Dylan Andrews, the final prelim of this season. The first round of the fight was so close you could pretty much call it a tie. I'd say Zak won the first half of it and Dylan won the second. But the second round was completely one-sided. It was all Dylan Andrews on top, punishing him with elbows, and this all resulted from Zak running in with a flying knee and missing and getting taken down. Herb Dean threatened to stand it up several times, but each time he said that, Andrews would do just enough damage with elbows on top to keep the fight on the ground. He only stood up with 3 seconds left, and that was too late for Zak. He lost the fight because Dylan Andrews got a majority decision, 2 2018s, and a 19-19 draw. This led to the wildcard selection, so next week's fight, which was drawn out based on John Jones having to choose between his number 1 pick and his friend Bubba, is Kevin Casey against Bubba McDaniel. He gets back in via the wild card. That'll be your fight next week on Ultimate Fighter. I'm Stevie J from AngryMarks.com.